What is going on, the Ghost Squad and the CloverTac crew? Welcome to the Ghost and Clover Podcast, episode 9, brought to you by our good friends at European American Armory, aka EAA. We'll talk about them here in a little bit. My name is Trey, the Ghost Tactical. I'll be your tour guide tonight, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. What we are doing tonight, if you're not familiar, if it's your first time to the show, first time to the podcast, what we do is we each bring Clover and I each bring a topic that neither one of us know what the topic is. We talk to it for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then the third segment is a viewer-driven segment. Yes, all you have to do to be eligible to be able to randomly be selected to pick the topic is to say anything in the chat. Anything whatsoever. Anything whatsoever. You say, go screw yourself, or hello, or I like peanut butter and jelly, or any of those things, whatever it is, you'll be eligible to be randomly chosen to pick the third topic. Let's bring in our good buddy Clover. What's going on, buddy?
Yo, man.
What's going on with you?
Number 9 already.
Number 9.
Double digits after this.
I know, isn't that crazy? Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of them things. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, like you guys said, we are powered by EAA, and everyone knows EAA. If you've been around either one of our channels and many channels out there, they are a great company out there, great products. They've got anything from the 1911s to the Regard, which is a 92 clone. They got the high powers. They've got the Witness 2311s coming down the road. And the biggest thing that just was released back in April probably will be named the handgun of the year. If not, then there's been some hanging chads, if you will. But the MC14T, the tip-up barrel 380, amazing.
Wouldn't it be hanging chases? I'm just saying.
Ooh, and it's in Florida, so yeah, I think that's got to be the one, doesn't it? The hanging chases. Yeah. Pro show. This is 4th of July weekend. Independence Day is Tuesday, and so
Independence Day, not the 4th of July. It's Independence Day, people.
That's correct. It's
on the 4th of July.
That's correct.
And if you're like Tom Cruise, I guess you could be born on the 4th of July also. But yeah, Independence Day. That was Tom Cruise, wasn't it?
It was Tom Cruise, or you could be Randy Quaid and be in Independence Day. Either way, we're both pilots.
Whoa,
movies.
Interesting. Real quick, before we get into this, you mentioned Independence Day, and I thought Bill Pullman, right? Did you know that Bob in Maverick is Bill Pullman's son?
No, really?
Yes, sir.
Oh, and Bob is one of the best characters in Maverick.
What's your call sign, Bob?
Bob. What does that stand for?
Bob.
Yeah, I did not know.
Where's my laser, Bob? Where's my laser, Bob?
Yeah, I was not aware that was Bill Pullman's son. That's very interesting fact.
I didn't notice it too, and I told you last weekend or whatever we watched it or whatever last week or something.
Yeah,
and the credits roll, and it's just like the original credits where it shows the characters and who played them. And I forget his name now, but the last name was Pullman, and it looks just like him. And I'm like, how did I miss that? Like, now that the name is up there, like, that's got to be Bill Pullman's son. And I looked it up. Sure enough, it was.
Yeah, I mean, I would have never have thought about looking at him. Now that I know that, next time I watch it, I will definitely have to be looking out for the resemblance. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Go figure. Like I said, we got EA powering this. I know that you you probably have some stuff you want to talk about EA, but we can do that here in a little bit. I believe you have the first topic tonight. Is that correct?
Yeah, let's do it. I want to talk Sammiches, man.
Oh, snap. Here we go.
I want to talk Sammiches. Best sandwich. And I'm not talking about at a restaurant. Okay. Take the restaurant thing. I don't even mention that out there in the chat or anything else. Throw that out the window. I'm talking about you made it at home. Your grandma made it. Your wife made it. Your mom made it. Whatever. Sandwiches.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
best and worst and weirdest. I just want to talk sandwiches, man. So,
Yeah.
best sandwich you've ever made, you've ever had.
Um, man, it's tough. Can I go with three of them because they all have special places in my
I
heart?
think so. We've got plenty of time. And by the way, if you're out there in the chat, live or in replay, because you can always comment down below. Yeah, throw the best sandwiches that you've ever had. Or
Yeah.
maybe you
So
have them on a regular basis if you're lucky enough, right?
this is true. This is true. Yes. The three sandwiches that stick out in my mind when you said sandwiches. Gotta go with a Cuban. I love a good Cuban. You ever had a Cuban? They're phenomenal.
I don't think so.
So it's basically like a pork, almost like a pork tenderloin, but like a piece of good pork
Okay.
with some pickle and some mayonnaise and some ham, a slice of ham on there. So it's ham and pork. Oh man, it's hot. It's a hot sandwich, usually on like a pita bun or something, like a grilled pita bun.
Now, are
Something
you
like
more hot sandwich or cold sandwich?
it depends. It depends. I typically like cold sandwiches, but the Cuban is one of my favorites for sure.
I
That's that.
gravitate to cold sandwiches because it's quicker.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 99%. The only two hot sandwiches that I'll eat are Cubans and cheesesteaks. So
Really?
yeah, I think my cheesesteak is obviously my favorite sandwich of all time. I mean, how can you go wrong with a cheesesteak?
Yeah.
But a Cuban's good. And the third one, it's going to sound funny, but this is why it stuck in my head originally, is either ham or turkey, but the leftover ham or turkey from like Thanksgiving make really good sandwiches,
Oh,
days later.
Now, do you use a moist maker?
Oh, what?
A moist maker.
I don't know what the hell that is.
Dude, come on. You watch Friends. Come on.
Yeah. What's a moist maker?
My sandwich. My sandwich. His sister makes the sandwiches, and the
Yeah.
trick is she uses the extra gravy soaked layer of bread in the middle. We call it the moist maker.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
I have, not on a regular basis, but I have.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was an actual thing. I guess I must have missed that.
Yeah. You're going to have to go back and watch Friends, man. Come on.
Yeah. Now, book out there says ham and cheese with potato chips. Now, most of the time when I eat like ham or turkey or roast beef or whatever, like bologna, like cold cuts sandwiches, which I love, I usually will use potato chips, but I use a specific kind. If they're not available, I'll use regular Lay's. But my go-to potato chip on sandwich is salt and vinegar. Potato chips on my sandwiches, and it's
on a sandwich.
On a sandwich, yes.
Yeah.
It's one of the layers of the sandwich, yes, 100%.
Chicago Mike out there, one that I know you're fond of, PB and J's.
I love PB and J.
And then James there.
That's my show go-to snacks, as you know.
Yeah. James out there breaking out the fried bologna. Now that tops my list as far as cold sandwich. Cold sandwich, almost got to be beef bologna. Bologna, not bologna, bologna. My bologna has a first name. Anyway, usually it's not. There's much better bologna out there than OSCAR. I hate to tell you.
But, there is. There is.
Usually from the deli area, cut it to the thickness you like and all that is usually the best. But bologna and cheese just with some really crisp lettuce. Is a really nice, straight out of the fridge. Everything is cold except for the bread. You know what I mean? And it's just, especially if you've been working, I've been working outside and doing things the last few days and all, but, haven't had one of those sandwiches, but on a hot day and all, that's just it's a nice cool sandwich. I eat a lot of sandwiches. We talk about best. I eat a lot of, it's hard to beat that one, but I eat a lot of breakfast style egg-based sandwiches.
Sure.
And one of my
A really good
favorites,
hot ham and cheese with an egg on there. It
it's
doesn't get much better
almost grilled cheese
than
with an egg
Texas
style,
toast.
right? So,
Yeah.
so I'll
Oh,
tell
yeah.
you, I'll tell you what I do is first of all, screw the toaster. Like you don't use the toaster. Right? You put some butter in a pan and you soak
Yep.
the bread with butter and you toast it that way. And then get you some
That's
cheese.
good.
You fry you up an egg, and then here's the trick with me. What I like, um, those little packages you get are like the Carl Budding lunch meats, right?
Hmm.
So it's really thin shaved. But what I do is once I'm done toasting my bread and all of that, there's usually a little residual butter and all that. I will throw that, and I'm talking about even though it's thin sliced, I'll throw the whole little stack, right, out of the whole
Hmm.
package into the skillet and kind of brown it a little bit on one side, flip it over and brown it on another. And I'll throw that on there, turkey. Some,
Oh, yeah.
heated up, warmed up turkey, whatever you want to call it, on there with the egg and the cheese and the toast. And what's good about the Carl Budding is there's something about the texture on that because it's the multiple layers of the thin deli meat,
Hmm.
right? And it's just texturally, it's a phenomenal sandwich, texturally speaking. So definitely one of my favorites, one of my go-tos, for
Yeah.
sure.
So let me ask you this. Love me a bologna. My wife does not like bologna, so I don't get bologna very often, but when I do, I eat the whole package because she won't have, which is fine. I have
Yeah.
no problem with that. On a basic, just regular bologna sandwich, just
Hmm.
regular run of the mill bologna sandwich, what's on it? I know you said
Uh,
like
that
mayonnaise, mustard, anything or what?
usually I don't, man. I'm not a big condiment person.
Yeah. Yep.
So, lettuce, it has to be good,
Tomatoes,
crisp,
anything?
has to be good crisp lettuce and cheese and bologna.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then maybe put some chips. Now I go with the chips for the salt and the texture, so I typically just go with the Lay's.
Regular Lay's, yeah.
If I'm gonna go chips, yeah. But it just kind of depends on what's around too, quite
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. If I don't have salt and vinegar, I usually will have Lay's. I'll have Ruffles. Ruffles aren't a bad one. I'd say another decent one are Pringles. Pringles are pretty decent to put on sandwiches.
Yeah.
So yeah. But my favorite are the Lay's salt and vinegar. But that's I will put lettuce on there every now and then on a bologna sandwich. I don't put lettuce on there. It's usually like Texas toast, a couple big thick slices of bologna,
Yeah.
one piece of bread with mayonnaise, the other piece of bread with mustard and salt and vinegar chips, and let's roll. Let's
Now,
roll.
when we're talking bread, let's move to the bread
Yeah,
aspect of it. I want to get
mhm,
into the weirdest sandwich here in a minute, so you can go ahead and throw
yeah,
those
yeah.
out there in the comments or something if you want. Let's tell on ourselves. So
Oh yeah,
no judgment here, no judgment. I can guarantee you, mine. Some people are going to turn up their nose. It's phenomenal, but I can guarantee you they're going to do it. But anyway, um, so for the longest time, I was like white bread. Like I just couldn't hardly have
oh yeah.
anything but white bread. I really got into the low carb keto, watching that
Mhm,
and stuff, and the Sara Lee, what is it, 7 grain or multi-grain or something like that.
mhm,
And what's phenomenal about that for bread people out there, first of all, it's lower calorie, it's lower carb, and all of that. But you've got grain, which is of course a little bit healthier on that side as well. Um,
sure.
but the thing about that bread that I found, which is really weird, compared to white bread, it stays fresh way, way, way longer,
Yeah,
which is awesome. Um, so if I had my choice, talking about the best sandwich, right? With the toast, it really doesn't matter, quite honestly. But with that cold, the crisp lettuce, the bologna, it's almost got to be white bread. And I don't want Texas toast. I don't want thick white bread. I want regular white sandwich bread. It's got to be fresh white sandwich bread.
sure.
Is the best. But of course, I'll eat it with the low cal, low carb, multigrain. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I prefer Texas toast in general. I like thick bread. But ironically, my favorite bread ever is the Sunbeam white bread. I like is I like really I don't like
I think that's an iconic Texas thing.
the Sunbeam.
I just do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Sunbeam, like the regular thickness, not the Texas toast, but like the regular Sunbeam bread. For me, I like it really soft, almost kind of like a gooey bread, and that's the closest I've ever found is Sunbeam. It's just really soft, really good bread. But I love Texas toast. So I do a lot of Texas toast. As far as a keto, we found a really good keto. It's got like 4 grams in this bread, and it's the best keto bread. It's at Walmart if you can find it.
Say keto on it, like a white package.
No, it's like blue.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
There's one I can't remember the name, but it's made in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Down the road from like Anderson and them, I think, which is
Yeah.
really interesting.
I'd say what I use a lot of times now is I'll go get the low carb tortillas, and I'll just throw it, like make it like a wrap almost. I'll throw the lettuce and all that stuff, and I'd tell you what, making a good peanut butter and jelly on a low carb tortilla is pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, if I'm gonna use tortillas, I'm usually gonna go with almost some kind of a quesadilla style thing. And I have made a fried bologna quesadilla. I will tell you that.
Yeah, I'll throw in because I like shredded iceberg lettuce. I'm very particular on my lettuce, and so it comes shredded. I can get a bag of shredded iceberg lettuce, and I'll just throw like my ham, turkey, bologna, whatever the meat that I'm using at the time on that tortilla. I'll throw some lettuce. I'll throw some mustard or mayonnaise, usually mustard and mayonnaise together. Roll that bad boy up, and yeah, let's go to town.
So Chicago Mike, you saying what is Texas toast? It's thicker. It's like 2 or 3 times the thickness.
It's at least 2 slices of bread, if not 3. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. So so let's turn gears. The weirdest. I'm not gonna say the worst because the one I'm gonna give you, I rather enjoy and may have one here shortly. But the weirdest sandwich, something that you're almost afraid to admit or tell somebody, even though you think it's delicious. Elvis had what? Peanut butter banana.
Peanut butter banana. Mine's close to that. Yes, peanut butter banana. Close to that.
My grandfather ate peanut butter and watermelon.
That sounds disgusting. But mine is a peanut butter based sandwich. And it's peanut butter.
Oddly enough, mine is too.
It's peanut butter. I love peanut butter. Peanut butter and marshmallow spread, and it's pretty amazing.
That's weird. I think that's weird, but
it is weird. But
it does not sound disgusting to me.
No, it's really not. It's really, really good actually. But peanut butter and marshmallow spreads, probably the weirdest sandwich that I really enjoy. So yeah, peanut butter and marshmallow spread, pretty good.
So Weston out there, he says PB&J with sriracha. Now, Weston. So if Weston eats PB&J with sriracha, Weston may be on board for trying mine because it's sort of along that line. Now I don't go with the J, but what I will do is I will take my peanut butter, plenty of peanut butter, both sides, both sides of the inside of the bread.
Is there any other way?
Yeah, you're an animal if you only put it on one piece of bread. Come on.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if anybody else does this with peanut butter, but are you meticulous like you're finishing bricks or spackling a wall or something?
It has to be perfect. It has to be perfect.
I mean, it's got to be evenly distributed, and you spend like 30 minutes spreading it on. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife is kind of interesting when I'm making peanut butter. I actually had peanut butter toast before we came on the show. And every time she's in there when I'm doing something, she's like, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm like, I mean, kind of does,
Right. Now, Prep Rebel says peanut butter and sardines. That's the grossest one I think I've heard, at least tonight. So
I mean, anything with sardines is gross.
He wins the gross so far for sure. Not judging. If you love it, eat it, dude. I ain't got a problem. I say
Yeah.
dude. I'm thinking Prep Rebel is a dude. Anyway, so mine again, Wes with the sriracha. He's obviously liking that little kick, that spice. Now I don't
Mhm.
do the jelly. Both sides of the bread. And what I will do is I will finely chop me a nice sweet onion. If you know anything about a sweet onion, they're sweet, but they're still hot. They still got the kick. They still
Oh
got
yeah.
the
Oh
heat
yeah.
to it. Um, and it's amazing. It adds a texture similar to like crunchy peanut butter, and I'm not a big fan of crunchy peanut
I
butter.
do not like country peanut butter.
But it's not crunchy like that, right? Because the onion, especially a nice fresh onion,
Yeah.
it's not crunchy. It's got a similar texture. But man, it adds that little kick of heat, that little note at the end. I tell that to folks pretty often, and some are grossed out. Some say it's interesting. But I think Weston might be on board with me there that it adds that little kick, that little bit of heat to the peanut butter, and it's just good. I don't know how else to
I
say it.
love peanut butter and I love onions. So I haven't ever tried it. I
Yeah.
mean I want
Wes
to try
says,
it. You know?
well, Wes says he would try that. Yeah, got to be a sweet onion, man. You got to have some sweet in there. I think that's the key to it. Uh,
Yeah.
is having that
Now
sweet on
Prep
that end.
Rebel says it was not him, it's his pops that does the peanut butter and salt.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, that's what I said. I had a grandfather that did peanut butter and watermelon, so go figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Do y'all like peanut butter with nuts or without?
Mhm.
I don't like nuts.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you're my
prefer
yeah, no, not crunchy. Yeah.
I prefer my peanut butter creamy, and here's why.
He
It
likes
costs
it.
the same amount of money, and the people at the factory had to work less. Like, explain that to me. If
Yeah.
you buy a jar of crunchy peanut butter, it should be considerably cheaper than the one they had to sit there and actually crush everything up properly. Do you not agree?
Oh yeah.
It's highway
Uh,
robbery.
Now Mario says brother-in-law used to eat a mayo and banana sandwich on white toasted bread.
That's up there.
That's
That's
pretty
pretty
bad.
nasty.
That's pretty bad. Pretty
Prep Rebel
bad.
says he's loving the peanut butter and jalapeno. Yeah, there's something about peanut butter and having a little bit of kick to it or a little bit of spice to it
Yeah.
that I think is cool.
It's so let me ask you this, since you brought up sandwiches.
Mhm.
And I don't think it is necessarily this, but is peanut butter like the greatest like guilty pleasure sandwich? Like, I
It
mean,
probably it
I
probably
really,
is
really
because
hate
here's the
peanut
thing.
butter, you know?
We talked about our favorite sandwiches, right? Neither one of us brought up peanut butter
Yeah, but we
with our
both love
favorite sandwiches. But when we got
it.
into the weirdest, and it was
Yeah.
peanut butter, and then everybody out there in the chat is commenting with all of their
Mm,
weird peanut butter concoctions.
yep.
So I think so. I think peanut butter is, well, I mean, it's been a
It's
staple
not
for
a
a long
guilty
time,
pleasure because
right?
I'm not afraid to
Like
say that I love peanut butter, but
I know
it's
you've
not
talked
like
about I know you've talked about in the military before. I know you've
yep.
talked about how, when they go in and humanitarian missions or whatever, and they'll bring in
Right.
rice and they'll bring in other stuff, but they always feed them peanut butter, you know. And
Yeah,
peanut
when I
butter
was
has been a
I never thought about that. I was like, what the hell are they doing? They said, well, some of these people haven't eaten in weeks or months, and they're feeding them rice, and rice expands. And
yeah,
so they gave them a tablespoon of peanut butter first to coat their stomachs, so their stomachs
yeah,
literally wouldn't explode.
yeah. But peanut butter's been a thing that's been around for a very long time. Like it keeps well, right?
Yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
just one of those staple items, and I think that it's a guilty pleasure maybe for a lot of people because you can keep it around for an extended period of time. You always have it around the house because it never goes bad type thing.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
I
Chris,
think
Chris
that
out there says PB. He says peanut butter plus spice equals Thai.
this is
So
true.
yeah,
The Thai use a lot of peanut butter in their foods.
or
So, yeah.
peanuts. Yeah,
Well, peanuts, but yeah, I mean, they actually will. There'd be some peanut butter in there too.
Mhm.
Have you ever tried to make your own peanut butter, like from homemade scratch?
I did one time. Now I had a boss one time that made it, and he made some amazing peanut butter.
I've
It's
never made it, but I've also had it before, and I've never really liked homemade peanut butter, so that's why I've never made it.
Yeah, it's not terribly difficult. It's
No.
some oils and peanuts, and you grind it all down and whip it all down basically. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's something. whether it's the MSG, it's the additives, the preservatives, the other things that they put into the store bought. Now, since we went down the peanut butter roll, and we've got to end this and move on.
Yeah.
But since we've been down the peanut butter roll,
Mm.
and I know you like the goober with the mix or whatever, but
It's just for shows. Yeah.
kick that to the side. Favorite brand of peanut butter?
Oh, it's. I won't. Besides Goober, I won't eat anything besides Peter Pan Creamy.
Really? Okay. Peter Pan guy.
I grew up a Peter Pan guy. Yeah.
We disagree. Now, first of all, I'll eat pretty much any brand.
I will.
Of peanut butter.
I'm not saying that I won't. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If I have my choice, it's. I will never choose anything. As long as Peter Pan Creamy's there, I will never choose anything besides that.
Right. Gotcha. And I'm the same way with Jif. I'm a Jif guy.
Yeah. Sure.
So yeah, I hear you.
I would say Jif would probably be my second one. Like if they for some reason don't have Peter Pan Creamy, it's going to be Jif that I get. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Now again, I'll eat anything. I've had the Walmart brand here. I've had several other things. Revolver out there is mentioned, and Skippy. Yeah, we've had Skippy. We've had Peter Pan. And don't get me wrong. If there's ever a big sale somewhere, we may end up getting stuff like that. But
I'll eat pretty much any kind of peanut butter as long as it's creamy, and I will eat crunchy if I had to. I mean, I'm not going to turn it down. Yeah. I just prefer. I grew up a Peter Pan Creamy guy, and that's just how I kind of fell in love with peanut butter.
Right. Now, Wes out there says normally he eats the Aldi natural. Aldi has some great products. I've never had that, but I would not doubt it because we've shopped at Aldi in the past, and their brand of stuff is typically pretty darn good. So kicking it over to you. We got to get over to you and your topic here. Before we do, a quick reminder. First of all, thanks for all the participation in the chat around peanut butter of all things. And if you're in replay, there's comments down below. Keep those comments coming, because if you throw a comment out there here after Ghost is finished with his topic, then we're going to pull somebody from the audience for a topic. And that is powered by our friends over at Tars, and we'll talk about them a little later. But wanted to, we mentioned EAA and the podcast here, obviously overall powered by EAA. Just curious, have you gotten in the thing that you thought was coming in? I don't want to necessarily give it away if you don't want to give it away.
I think so. I haven't made it to the gun shop. I got a text from my buddy at the gun shop and said, hey, you've got something here waiting for you. Gotcha. And the only thing that I've been expecting was this. But I've been so busy that I haven't been able to. I'll probably go tomorrow to the gun shop and stop by.
Yeah. The guy that owns our gun shop I think he was supposed to get back in town either tonight or tomorrow night. So
okay, so you'll know
with him not there and the caliber of employees, unfortunately, that he has, they don't ever call and tell me anything. But speaking of EAA, there may be some things at the gun shop for both of us waiting. Who knows? Definitely coming down the pipe before too long. So, let's hit your topic. Let's go.
So my topic is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to do a little something different.
Actually, we're going to talk guns.
No, we did that last week. We did that.
Right.
I can't do that 2 weeks in a row or 2 shows in a row. I mean, good Lord, that's Matrix. So TripAdvisor, I saw a thing on the internet and it said TripAdvisor had done this article, and it's not cities, it's like landmarks or places to go. The top 10 best attractions in America. So what we're going to do is we're going to use like a little quiz here. You're going to try to guess as many of the top 10 best attractions in America, and you get 3 strikes. After the 3rd strike, you lose. We'll see. Can you get the top 10 without getting 3 of them wrong?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we're not talking city. We're not talking cities, right? Mm-hmm. We're just talking like.
Now, is this just me, or is the chat out there? Can the chat help me, or how's this going?
I want them. If you get stuck, utilize a chat.
I got a lifeline. Okay, guys,
you got a lifeline. Now. I'll tell you what. We're going to give you 2 strikes, and you can use the lifeline, which is the chat. How about that? Instead of 3 strikes, you get 2 strikes, and on the 3rd one, you can utilize a lifeline from the chat. How about that?
Okay. After I get 2. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, we ready?
Yeah, and you don't have to go in order. Just start naming stuff, and I'll tell you if it's on the list or not.
Grand Canyon.
That is number 1.
Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls is not.
Whoa. Okay.
Top 10. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is your first strike. Yes. Now this is according to TripAdvisor, so take that for what it's worth. Right?
Well, I don't know. Niagara Falls is one of them things. It depends on if it's Canada side or the U.S. side too, and
it's true
there. Man. Okay. According to TripAdvisor, the Alamo.
The Alamo is not on the top 10.
Wow. I'm crashing and burning quick. But now I've got the chat. Help me out, chat.
Now you got the chat.
And this is landmarks, right? Or whatever.
This is like best attractions, places to go, just not like generic cities, but like places to go, whether it's a landmark, a statue, whatever, all that crap, you know.
Well, I'm gonna get help from the chat since I can now from mandatory carry it, and I'm gonna go Disney World.
Disney World is number 9.
Wow, I did not figure it would be that low, right?
Neither did I.
Going with the chat, but this one obviously was in my mind. Going with the chat in West. Let's go Yellowstone.
Yellowstone is not on the
Wow. So we crashed and burned big time. Wow.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and name the top 10 and we can talk about them, right?
Yeah.
Number 1, Grand Canyon.
There's a ball of yarn on there. I'm going to be pissed. I'm just telling you right now.
Ball of yarn is probably on the list. It just wasn't in the top 10. Let's be honest. They did like the top 50 things to see, best attractions, and I just went to the top 10 because it would take forever to do 50. But Grand Canyon is number 1. There's a couple on here that are going to surprise you. I'm not going to lie. Several of them that will surprise you. Number 2, Statue of Liberty.
That was one that was in the back of my mind. Yeah.
Statue of Liberty is number 2. Number 3 is the White House.
Oh, wow. Screw that.
Yeah. I would not have put that on my list, but okay.
Wow.
But it is what it is.
On a vacation. Where are we going? To the White House. We're going to see the White House.
Right.
Ooh, la-di-da.
Number 4 is in the same city, which I have seen and would go see, is the Lincoln Memorial. I would 100% put the Lincoln Memorial above the White House.
Talking about DC Smithsonian's there too, right?
It's not in the top 10.
Really? Wow.
Nope. I know, right? There's going to be a few of the top 10 that are going to surprise you. So number 1, Grand Canyon, Statue of Liberty, number 2, White House, number 3, Lincoln Memorial, number 4, number 5. Here comes the first curveball. Never even thought about this, but it would be kind of cool. It's Alcatraz. Alcatraz is number 5.
Oh, snap. Yeah.
Never even thought about that, but yeah, like that's kind of a cool place to go visit, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Number 6, Mount Rushmore. You figured that's got to be in the top 10,
there was
right?
A bunch in the chat that threw that out there. Thanks for that. I should have went with the folks that put that out there. Go ahead. Absolutely.
So that's number 6. Number 7, I would never go see this unless I just happen to be driving by. I'd be like, look up and say, oh yeah, the Hollywood sign. Apparently it's a thing.
Wow. I can't believe that.
Sign is, I can't believe it either.
Can't believe that. Like you can literally get on Google Earth and look at the Hollywood sign. Like,
yeah. So, and like I said, I've been to LA so many times and I've seen the Hollywood sign and it was like, I never remember ever getting excited about, the Hollywood sign, you know? But that's number 7. Number 8, if you're in the South, you probably get it, but Graceland, Elvis Presley's house there in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, yep.
Graceland is number 8.
That's a good one. Is that still even around? I guess so.
I believe so. I guess it would be.
I guess it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's under private control or if it's.
I know that Lisa Marie and her mom Priscilla, I want to say that they still own, well, Lisa Marie's obviously not around anymore, but Priscilla, I believe that the company, the corporation still owns that, but they have sold off quite a bit of the stuff to bigger corporations to
Yeah.
manage. But I want to say that Graceland's still in their control. I don't think this is my opinion. I don't think Priscilla will ever let Graceland go into someone else's hands. It's just me, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So that was number 8. Number 9, Disney World. Number 9 is Disney World, and number 10 is the Las Vegas Strip.
Oh, snap.
Every year.
Wow.
And for people that have never been, yeah, like the Vegas Strip is something that everyone should see once in their life. It's pretty amazing, you know.
And if you try to walk from the Sands Convention Center to Caesars, you'll die. I'm just telling you.
It's right across the street, but it's not, you know.
Even Black Rambo couldn't make that walk.
No, this is true. This is true. No, he was taking a break on the phone, wasn't he?
Trying to get an Uber.
This is true. So let's go through the list again. Number 1, Grand Canyon. Number 2, Statue of Liberty. Number 3, White House. Number 4, Lincoln Memorial. Number 5, Alcatraz. Number 6, Mount Rushmore. Number 7, Hollywood Sign. Number 8, Graceland. Number 9, Disney World. And 10, the Las Vegas Strip. So now that we know the top 10, I want to sit there and say, how many of these have you been to or seen in person?
Oh, let's see. Not very many.
Okay.
Grand Canyon Strip, and that's it, I think.
Oh, okay. So I've been to the Grand Canyon. I've seen the Grand Canyon, White House, Lincoln Memorial, Hollywood Sign, Graceland, Disney World, and Vegas Strip. The only ones I haven't are the Statue of Liberty, Alcatraz, and Mount Rushmore, which I would love to go see Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore is a possibility one day.
Yeah,
for sure. On a road trip for my wife and I, for doing something.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. I ain't going into New York. Sorry.
No,
to see. I don't care. Would it be cool to get up on the Empire State Building or to go to the Statue of Liberty and some of that stuff?
I'd like to go to like maybe one World Trade Tower, and kind of see
the stadiums,
11
even
Memorial.
And I hate to say it, but even the DC things, right? I would love to go to the Smithsonian and some of that other stuff. But God, DC's right there with New York as far as I really don't want to go there. And Hollywood Sign, let's be honest, like I don't want to get that far into California. I really don't.
Yeah, I love DC. I think it's an awesome town to visit for a couple days. It's about as far as I'll go. But I love history and politics and all that. So let's put it this way: of those that you have not seen, which is the one that you'd want to see the most?
Are you talking about now? Let me ask you a question. Somebody else is funding this trip. We're gonna send you to one of these places.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Can I take people with me?
Sure. You get a trip for 4 people, lodging, flight, whatever, food, all inclusive. Pat Sajak's going to give you a trip for 4.
I'd have to probably at that point. I'd probably have to leave my wife at home and take the grandbabies to Disney World.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Because I think I would. Rather than going and seeing any of those places, quite honestly, I think I would enjoy it more because the places I most like to see, none of those were on the list. I would enjoy more enjoying the grandbabies, enjoying Disney World. Does that make sense?
No, I get it. So what's attraction or landmark, whatever that wasn't on the list that you want to go to?
I have never been to Gettysburg.
Ooh, yeah.
That pretty definitely has to get done. Mount Rushmore, as was mentioned, is definitely up there. Now, before you ask, and I don't know if it's going there, my favorite place in the world to go, and I've been many, many times, and I love it every single time I go. And I mentioned it. That's why I mentioned it when I was guessing. Was the Alamo.
Yeah. Oh, I love the Alamo.
Love the Alamo. I like sitting in the courtyard back there on a bench sometimes and just sitting there and just.
People don't realize if you've never been to San Antonio. Yeah, if you've never been to San Antonio, I lived there for a couple of years and I love San Antonio. The city, the downtown, the city of San Antonio was built around the Alamo. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And there's only a few relics left of the Alamo. What's famous about the Alamo, the building you see is actually part of the jail, and all that. But the Alamo itself, when you think about this insane battle with the Mexican army and Santa Anna, and now if you're a Texan, you get this because you learn all this stuff and you know it like it's, part of who you are, because it is part of who you are. Right. But the Alamo is so much smaller than people think. Like when they get there, like, this is it.
Well, it's because it's just the one, like the mission basically built.
Yeah, but even when you get there and they have they have the church and the jail there, but they show like where the other stuff was.
The outer walls and stuff. It was pretty big. It was pretty big with the outer walls, but the inner portion.
And then there's still a lot of the outer walls are still there. Some of the outer walls are still there. Yeah. There's no building standing there and all that, but it's still, you're thinking about 10,000 Mexican army, and you're like, it's basically the size of maybe not even a square, maybe a square block, at the most. Yeah, it's kind of cool,
Yeah, Prep Rebel says I've been to the Alamo. Love having all the history surround me. It's surreal. Yeah, that's what I love. If you know the size and the scale and how big the Fort Alamo actually was, and the directions everything are, and especially if you've grown up in Texas, we got Texas history, and then I've read many, many, many books about Texas history as well. But you sit in that courtyard, and they're playing old timey music. Is all I can say. Like it's music you would hear in an Alamo movie type thing. That's playing real faintly, and you sit there and you think about, over there was this, and down the street there, 6 blocks away or whatever it was, where this high rise is at now or something, was this, and you just think
the
about
Alamo Wall is right next to
the and you think about the importance. That's one of the biggest things. It was not about, and the people that were at the Alamo, the patriots of the Republic of Texas that were at the Alamo.
And non-Texans like Davy Crockett we're not Texans that came down to fight with Texas.
Yeah. Well, all Texans weren't. Texas was a bunch of hoodlums that basically.
What I'm saying is like Davy Crockett really had no ties to Texas. It was just he brought his guys and volunteers. That's why they're the volunteers.
They pretty much. It didn't take them long before they realized we're not going to win this. Like, we're not getting out of this alive. Like, we're not. But they knew they had to hold the line long enough for Houston to amass everything at San Jacinto. And had they not, Sam Houston, and had they not, then the I don't know that Texas would have ever won its independence. I don't know if they would have ever won.
San Jacinto goes the other way, and it's over. Yeah. It's over at that point.
They had to hold off. They knew they weren't going to win, but they had to hold off long enough, and that's what they did. They held off just long enough, and sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah. Now, Prep Rebel out there, we'll kind of end this on this one. He says, "Have either of you been to all the battlefields from the war, from the independence? If not, y'all need to go. Just feel the history." No, I have. I've been to several. But I haven't. I tell you, and this wasn't the War of Independence, but you mentioned it earlier. I was probably 14 or 15 when I went, and I wasn't a big history guy at the time. But even then, it was just an eerie kind of you could feel it. Was Gettysburg? It's probably the coolest place I've ever been, because you just sit there and. It's just one of those weird, like, oh my God, like, this is Gettysburg,
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So that is, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, when you've got places like that such tragedy took place, but at the same time, such heroism, and stuff took place. It really does kind of put you in your place in this current time and in this world and in this universe,
No doubt. Yep. That was a fun one. Our next segment is going to be the random topic from one of the viewers. So it's brought to you by our good friends at Taurus. So Clover's going to get that thing. We're going to give you a couple minutes while we talk about our friends over at Taurus.
Let's not.
No, okay. Well, let's talk about Taurus first. So go ahead.
What I'm saying is, let's draw this thing. That way, while the person that wins this is responding, we can talk about Taurus.
Oh, well, there you go. So yeah, let's go ahead and draw it.
Yeah, so here we go.
And then we'll talk about Taurus. That's good.
Because otherwise, we kind of have to vamp and there's silence and whatever. So if your name comes up, be Johnny on the spot. Give us a topic. Yeah. No, we just
finished my topic. So yeah.
What are the odds that? Because the only thing out there was what you put at the very first of the show.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Ozzy.
So Ozzy, we're going to give you a minute or so while we talk about Taurus to give us the random topic. We'll pretty much talk about anything that can be talked about without getting our channel shut down and all that. But while we're waiting on Ozzy to come up with a topic, let's talk a little about Taurus. I know, Clover, you and I are both good fans of Taurus, good friends with the company. Obviously, we have probably have much different models that we like. I'm more of I like the G3, the G4 series semi-automatics and all of that. I know you're a big fan of the revolvers. Which revolvers, as far as Taurus goes, that are some of your favorites?
Dude, the large bore, especially the 460 Smith & Wesson, and I don't have one, but oh my gosh, man. You got to love the big bore stuff Taurus is doing right now. As far as the favorite that I think I own, I've got, and they don't make that particular one anymore. They make one similar. I've got the Taurus Protector Poly in 38 Special, which is a little polymer frame snub nose revolver, actually in my EDC rotation. But it's just so much fun to shoot. And so, a lot of people, rip on that, and I don't think they've ever owned one when they rip on that, because they'll say, oh, it's polymer and blah, 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 and it won't last. I've shot the ever-living crap out of that thing. It wouldn't be in my EDC rotation if I didn't know what it would do and I didn't feel like I could trust it. And I've shot it so much. It's just so fun to shoot. And that's strange for a snub-nosed polymer revolver. You know what I mean? You would think, oh, that thing will beat you to death. It's horrible. It's not comfortable. And it's so much fun.
Absolutely. I want to say that Ozzy, he came out. He said, what do you think of NAA mini revolvers, carry or a range tool?
I like that one. So we'll get to that here in a sec.
I'm already feeling a little bit of a rash coming on, so I'm starting to itch a little bit, but we'll talk about it. Yeah. We'll talk about it.
So you're more of the semi whatever.
Yeah. I have shot the PT92, being a 92 fan, but my first really jump into Taurus was the G3. And the G3, I think, is that model that the G2 started, but I think the G3 is one of that model that kind of solidified Taurus in the last few years is getting their crap together and making a really good semi-automatic 9mm, gun. It comes in compact, full size, and all that. I really do enjoy it, and the G4 is good as well. But yeah, the G3 is a really, really, I'm looking at it right now, and it's a really, really solid gun. And it's one of those guns that you can get for a really good price. And it is 100% a gun that I would recommend someone to say, hey, I don't have a lot of money, but I want to get a gun that I can trust. That Taurus G3 for me would be definitely on that list of 4 or 5 guns that I would recommend for sure.
So let me ask you this about Taurus. Have you shot the TX22?
I have, yeah. I shot it a couple different times. I think the first time I shot it was at the Alabama thing last year.
Yeah.
What was that? I can't remember the name of that shoot.
Yeah.
Shooting Sport Showcase. I think that was the first time that I shot it. And I shot it at, I think it shot. But no, I've enjoyed it. I'm not a huge 22 pistol guy. But I liked it. It's for me, it's kind of tactical, if you will.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more tactical than others that are out there. So I like that about it. It looks kind of cool. And I tell you what, I don't own one, obviously, but I know a lot of people that do have them, and I've never heard anyone say a bad thing about them. So apparently they're pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I've shot a lot, and not just at events, but um, through the gun shop. There's been some used ones come through, and people come in and cleaned on some or tweaked on some things and worked on them. So I've got a lot of trigger time on them, or what I would consider a lot, not just a couple of bang bangs and
I've probably got maybe
I'm
50.
going to take heat. I've got more than that. I've got several
Yeah.
hundred, I'm sure, total.
Says I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot.
But I'm not impressed. I just don't like it, and that's not a knock on Taurus. I don't like it. Like you said, it's a decent handgun, and there's a lot of people that like it. It is the cup of tea for a lot of people out there. But for me, it's just not the way it feels. The balance on it, it's just, and maybe I'm spoiled.
Well, you're all from the buckmarks of the world,
Yeah,
So.
I am old school with the high standards and the buckmarks and the woodsmans and the and the things like that.
Did you like the Ruger Mark series?
I don't care too much for the old school. The 2245s, not so much. The old school one's a little better,
Okay.
because of grip angle and grip design and some other things. But what always turned me off about the Ruger Marks was the difficulty in working on them and a lot of other things. And even with the the takedown, the separating the upper from the lower is easier, but they're still a pain to work on compared to a buck mark. Again, that's opinion and preference and experience and whatever speaking. I'm not knocking on anything. Like what you like and don't like what you don't like.
Absolutely.
But I don't. The TX22. Would I pick up one at the right price? Absolutely, 100%. I would because it's at the right price. Am I going to run out and pay absolute retail somewhere for one because I got to have it? Nope, not even a chance. Would I trade something remotely valuable to me for it? No, probably not. But yeah, so that's Taurus, by the way.
That's cool. Go.
Thankfully, they have other things that I love and own and enjoy. So there's plenty of Taurus for everybody. And we always gloss over this. We talk about Taurus, but don't forget Heritage and Rossi as well, because that is under that Taurus banner. So you add those into the mix, and there's a whole lot of things for everybody out there to love and enjoy.
That's right. Taurus International, if you will. So, yeah. NAA, North American Arms. I think that's what NAA stands for. North American Arms. Yeah. The little mini revolvers, carry gun or range toy? What let's I'll let you start out on this one.
Well, we're talking mini revolvers, and keep in mind that they make a ton of different ones, and that's what's kind of cool about NAA. They even have some black powder stuff.
Before we start, the mini revolvers are full size revolvers for Clover in mind hands. So.
This is true. So yeah, NAA's got they've even got a semi-auto now. I think isn't the Pug or something a semi-auto, or is that somebody else?
Ooh,
I can't remember. Maybe that's like the Bond Arms or something. Anyway, I could be wrong. We're talking about mini revolvers, so let's get back to that. Yeah, they make a lot of different ones. They make a lot of barrel lengths, a lot of grip sizes. They're all going to be 22 short, 22 long, 22 Magnum cylinders in them. Or black powder, and that's what's interesting to me is and I've never had a chance to play with any, but I fondle them pretty much every time we go to a show, the black powder ones, because a black powder mini revolver, come on, how cool is that, especially for a FUD, right?
It's
amazing.
Now they do a 32 and a 388 Guardian.
The Guardians, yeah, that's what it was.
Guardian,
yeah, you're right.
It looks like that. That might be like an internal hammer. I can't tell, but I'm not sure.
The Guardian. Yeah, you're right. But anyway, back to the mini revolvers. So, my first experience with a mini revolver, and I'll tell this story, broke me from shooting without hearing protection, unless it was absolutely 100% necessary. I picked up a mini revolver at a local gun shop many years ago. It was in 22 Magnum, so I bought a box of 22 Magnum. At the same time, I bought the mini revolver,
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't have the range set up like I've got now, but I had a little berm and it was kind of off the side of the driveway and I could get 10, 15 yards or something, right? It was more for
Yeah.
function testing and load testing and stuff. Um, and so I bail out of the truck and I load 5 rounds into that thing and I cocked the hammer back and I cut loose on that little whatever inch and a half barrel, whatever the heck it is, in 22 Magnum. And brother, my ears were ringing and I was jacked up for probably 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
Um, and it's a wonder, and it may have caused permanent damage, to be honest. Now, as much as my wife hollers at me about not being able to hear stuff, but that's probably more of the loud
That's
music.
so that's selective hearings. What
It's
that is.
probably more the loud music too. Back in my younger days, right?
Yeah.
I could rattle windows from miles away, so that definitely wasn't good on my ears. But that broke me from that. It wasn't, you know. Um, the whole youth shooting sports and stuff like that, I really got into safety and preaching all of that stuff,
Mhm.
with the youth shooting sports coaching and instructing and stuff. But yeah, long before that, the NAA mini revolver broke me from the hearing pro thing. And I do hearing pro even when I hunt now. I use electronic hearing pro when I hunt, even like I'm not just no. So that's my kind of first experience with an NAA mini revolver. It was traumatic, man. It was traumatic.
No, I hear you. I don't have much experience. I might have shot in one or two ever. I don't have much experience. One, it's revolver. So just, I mean, that's the biggest thing. I don't get excited about. Now they are cool. I'll give them that. They are really, really cool. But as far as answering Ozzy's question
Yeah,
about
we went.
carry
We
or
went.
range toy,
I took a left
I don't.
turn, unfortunately.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's a carry gun. I really don't even think it's a range toy. I think what it is it's a really cool, fun conversational piece that maybe could turn into a range toys. Like, oh, that's really cool. Hey, you want to shoot it? Type thing. But I think they're more aesthetically cool to look at. I don't know. I don't. But once again, I'm not a revolver guy, so I wouldn't get terribly excited about shooting one. I don't know.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I disagree. I think it's got a place.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think it's got a place because I own them and I do carry them. Now, I do carry I carry a 22 Magnum version.
Yeah.
And it's got some ballistic tip ammunition in it, so I'm trying to get the best bang.
I've never
Nope.
shot a 22 Magnum one. I've only shot like a
Yeah.
22 LR
Try to
version.
get the best bang, no pun intended. Now,
Right.
it is not carried as a primary. Typically, when I carry one, I carry it's typically winter and it's pocket carry.
Yep.
So it's more a backup. If I don't have a chance to draw, can I potentially just pull my jacket pocket out, stick it in somebody's gut? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Type situation, and maybe that gives me enough time to then draw. You know, um, I don't know. I mean, like I said, more backup, more last resort. Anything rimfire, and it's not a knock on the mini revolver itself, but for me, and I love 22 long rifle. Everybody knows that.
Mhm.
But eh, rimfire, just the ignition source alone,
Yeah.
is not reliable enough for me. I don't, and some of the ammunition, like the Federal Punch, I mean, they use Ely primer and stuff like that, like match grade primer. Yes, that's going to be better. But if you know how rimfire works, I mean, there is always that chance, much more of a chance than with centerfire, that it's not going to go bang.
Yeah.
And so, while it's not optimal, I will not discourage anybody for whatever specific reason. And that specific reason maybe that's all you've got. Now,
Yeah.
speaking to range fun, that was the other part of Ozzy's question out there. And I've got obviously I shoot my mini revolvers all the freaking time. Um, you better have something big and you better not be very far away. That's the only thing I'm
Yeah.
going to say about
Sure.
that.
Yeah. A
Uh,
watermelon from 6 feet, huh?
at 10 yards, if you could keep them in 6 inch, you're doing really, really good. Really, really good. Like, it's hard to do. And part of that is ammo. Part of that is it's such a short barrel. Part of that is it's hard to get a proper grip and, just
Yeah.
all kinds of things. And I think that's why you see them Well, let's say one of the reasons mini revolvers are single action, because if you didn't know that, I don't know that they make a mini revolver at a double action because they can't get enough parts in there because it's so small. I think is part of it.
I was going to
But
ask you that because I think I know I shot one. I think I might have shot in two, but both of them were single action. I was kind of
yeah,
freaked out about having a single action with no basically trigger guard. I was
yeah,
going to ask
yeah.
you, have you ever shot one as double action? Because the one or
No,
two that I
never
ever
seen one.
shot were single action.
Yeah, I've never seen one. I'm not going to say there's not because I don't know everything. But to my knowledge, there's not, and it would make sense, like I said, because of how small they are.
Yeah, sure.
Just having the extra parts to make all that work. You'd have to have a hand, and you'd have to have the what am I thinking? The spurs and all that stuff. Anyway, but here's the thing: with it being single action, is actually probably a good thing because single action is going to be more accurate
Yeah.
because you've got less you can screw up in the trigger pull there. It's so quick. I will say this. Let me put out another. I told on myself with the hearing protection story. Let me tell on myself again, since we're talking about the NAA revolver. And I've told this story before. Ozzy may have heard it. That may be one of the reasons he may have wanted me to tell on myself tonight. That may be why I asked the question he did. But as I said, I pocket carry my NAAs typically in the wintertime in the coat or the jacket pocket, right? Because I can't handle heavy stuff in my pants pockets. I just can't handle it. So, but anyway, um, I had to actively break myself from fiddling with the thing in my pocket. I'm a fidgeter, right?
Mm.
I'm always moving my hands, I'm always moving. And it drives my wife insane because we'll be sitting there on the bed, whatever, watching TV, and I'm flipping the remote in my fingers or I'm something. And so I can remember being in Walmart and was fidgeting. We were grocery shopping. We were doing something, and I cocked the hammer back on it.
Oh, snap.
You know what I mean? Like I was just fidgeting
Yeah.
and click, and I'm like, oh
Did
my god!
did that
Like
stop you dead in your tracks? And
I walked out of the store. I held it where the trigger was in between like my middle finger and my ring finger.
yeah,
You know what I
make
mean? And
stays
kind
in
of held
place.
it kind of weird and put my thumb in between the hammer and the frame.
Yep. No, I get you.
Um, Kind of braced that area, and that's the first thing I did. And I had to do all this without pulling it out, obviously. And then I walked out of the store, around the corner of the store, and let the hammer down. And it was all
Yeah.
good. I let the hammer down; it didn't go bang. But yeah, I mean, it was in my pocket. I was fidgeting, like I said, and click. And so, yeah, if you're going to pocket carry, and this goes for anything, if you're going to pocket carry, if you're going to have something like that that doesn't have a trigger guard, I mean, with it being single action, it's going to be okay until you cock that hammer back. So don't fidget with that thing. Know it's there, and you're good, but leave it alone. It's not a fidget spinner.
This is true. This is true. I wish I had more to add to this. Like I said, I shot. I know one. I want to say I shot in two of them. But that's my own experience, and so there's not a whole lot for me to talk about. The NAA men revolvers, they are cool looking. I will say that they are cool looking. That doesn't mean that I'd go out and buy one, but they're definitely cool. And I think they'd be kind of cool conversational pieces for people who've never seen them in a revolver. They're like, whoa, what is that? I mean, maybe kind of a cool conversational piece. But yeah, thanks to Ozzy for that topic, and thanks for Taurus for sponsoring that segment. Clove,
Yeah.
it'll be 2 weeks before we have another one of these. Now, obviously, we'll have other things in between then, but 2 weeks before our next episode, which will be number 10, double digits, hitting the double digits. What do you got coming up? Anything?
Man, well, as you know, because we've been back and forth on the phone, trying
Yeah,
to line things out. We're already working on SHOT Show stuff. So,
this is true.
and obviously, working out some things for what am I thinking?
Trigger Con.
TriggerCon in September, as well as the big Tulsa
Wanamaker.
show in November. By the way, if you haven't made it to the Wanamaker Tulsa's Arms Show, the largest gun show in the world, you won't have a better time on a weekend. I can promise you. Get down to Tulsa. It's every April, every November, so you can easily plan it. Get down there and definitely check that out. And while you're down there, check out the Jam Davis Museum, which isn't too far away
Yeah.
as well. Get a twofer that weekend. Get down there on the Friday, go to Jam Davis, and then spend Saturday and Sunday at the show, and then go home. But yeah, looking forward to that stuff. Um, gonna kick off the late season of the podcast here before too long. In the next 2 months or so. So we'll be probably scheduling out here the end of this month, first of next month, getting things scheduled out, and another month, a few weeks, and we're into that. Right now, it's just video drops, and did was very very surprised with. Thursday, I dropped a reaction. The first reaction video, CloverTac reacts to, did not go over too terribly well. The second one went over amazingly. So I'm confused. I don't know if folks out there like them, or if they don't like them, or if it was just bad timing. So there'll be more of those probably coming to play that out and see what happens. So be able to check those out and give me some ideas on channels and stuff to do some reactions to in those videos. But yeah, got an interesting, what I think is going to be an interesting video drop for Tuesday. Now, I'm not going to give it away, but the Patreon patrons and YouTube channel members, and by the way, we forgot to say thank you to those folks, but to
Yes.
those YouTube channel members and Patreon patrons that support Ghost as well as myself, thank you to those folks, and they get
Yep.
all kinds of extras. We try to take care of them as much as possible, but um, they already have access to the video I'm talking about for Tuesday. So, and then Independence Day coming up. It's pretty much here. Um, so tomorrow night, and I have not got things scheduled on the channel yet, but keep this in mind. Tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, we will do we've kind of suspended the lawn chair pops except for special occasions. So we're going to have the Independence Day lawn chair pop.
Whoop.
And you'll get to see what everybody chose that we shoot. We'll talk a little bit of Independence Day history and some unsung heroes, some people that you may not have heard about that definitely tipped the tides in our favor during those battles. And then we'll give away a few things probably before the night's over as well. So come over to the channel tomorrow night about 8 Eastern. Hang out for an hour or so. Should be a good show.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the lawn chair pop and seeing. Whoa, hello. What we're gonna see from that. I'm just gonna do this real quick. Yep, sorry. Something was echoing for a second. I don't know if it was me or what. Anyways, yeah, real quick. Thank you, as Clover said, thank you to our patrons and YouTube channel members, people that buy swag from our store, people that use our affiliate links, people that use our discount codes, our Amazon links, all of that stuff. All of those are ways to help support and all of that. So thank you to everyone that does that. All we ask now is, if you're listening to this podcast, go support our sponsors, EAA and Taurus. And if you're out there, let them know that, if you see a social media post on Facebook or Instagram or something, or on YouTube, just make a comment and say, hey, thanks for supporting Ghost and Clover. It means a lot to us, obviously. But hearing from you guys, they'll appreciate that as well. But yeah, no, go support them as well. Obviously, Taurus and EA are making great quality things. So it's easy for us to talk about them because we both own, many firearms from these companies, so we can easily talk about them and all that. So yeah, for me, yeah, we've got some cool stuff. I'm working on what I'm calling a veteran project, a veteran's rifle project, a build that I'm using only accessories that are from veteran-owned companies. and it's kind of a cool thing. We'll be doing some videos with
How
that.
hard is that to do?
It's not, honestly. Let's be honest with you, because I think there's a the good thing about our community and our industry is veterans are involved. There's a large number of veterans in there. So, I mean, are there things that that aren't going to be veteran owned, like a light or something? Sure, but I'm talking like slings and maybe grips and stocks and trigger guards and cool stuff like add-ons or accessories and all of that. This is going to be a rifle. All that stuff is going to be from companies that are veteran owned, and so we'll be doing a lot of different stuff with this rifle. It's a cool build that I'm really proud of. Be getting a new optic. If you guys saw our video from last week, it was a top 5 rifles that we're looking to get into, and is looking for some feedback from people. I still might get another one, but I know that I've got a loophole coming in probably this week sometime. And I think I was supposed to be here last week probably, but with all the weirdness of shipping around the 4th of July, I don't think anyone's working tomorrow and Tuesday as far as the shipping companies and all that. So I might get here Wednesday, but I got a loophole optic coming for Sofia Vergara. And what I'll do is I plan on taking the Athlon scope and putting it on the AR-10 along with, I just got in last week, Clover knows this, I got a Swagger bipod that came in. And guys, I'm going to tell you, Swagger, I know, right? But here's the thing. If y'all are looking for a great bipod, go to Amazon, use my link or Clover's link to get there. It doesn't matter. But just search for Swagger bipod, and they've got one of the original steel bangers, which is a phenomenal one, for like $60. It's like originally like a $200 bipod.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
And I picked one. I looked at that and I was like, that's got to be a misprint.
It's got to be the older models they're phasing out. Probably is my guess, but I've had 2 of the steel bangers for years.
Yeah, it's the original steel banger. Yeah. So, and I picked one for $60, so I'm really looking to see that for sure. Anything I can help with, let me know. I appreciate it, Prep. Let me know. We can definitely do some stuff. I'm always looking, like I said, I want this build to be veteran focused, because there's a lot of great products that are out there that are veteran owned companies. So once again, it's going to be kind of like the tribute to that. So for sure, anyone that knows any good companies that have some cool maybe accessories for rifles that I need to spotlight, email me, leave a comment on this podcast, whatever, and let me know what some of those companies are so I can start looking. And there might be some stuff that I've never even heard of. And so I'm always looking for good accessories like that. Clove, you got anything else?
Nah, I'm good.
You good?
Pull the plug, man. Pull
the plug.
Flatline. Well,
we hope this tour tonight has had been a little bit entertaining for you. Like I said, I am your tour guide, but I am not to blame if this went down south. We sent every single one of our complaints. We do read. And we're very serious about getting complaints because we want to know how to make the show better. All we do is if you have a complaint about the show, send it to our joint email. It's called shootingleftofcenter@gmail.com. And make sure you put on the title Ghost and Clover Complaints. And we'll definitely take a look at those. And obviously, if there's something we need to make a change, we will definitely do some of that. And suggestions are always good as well. Use a comment section below to help with suggestions, maybe some topics and all that. More importantly, get your rear ends to the live show if you're listening to this in podcast or watching a replay so that you can be eligible for the live random topic picker. So, everybody have a wonderful Independence Day. Thank you guys for wasting an hour and 15 minutes with Clover and I. We really do appreciate. We appreciate everyone that supports us in any way possible. We ask you to go support our sponsors. Anything else before we get out of here?
God bless America.
God bless America. We'll see you soon. Take care.